you want it right now? You know?
Right.
Like, do you want to build a deck that wants to get there?
Yep. All right, blue.
Yeah, Air Elemental. It's worse than it's ever been because that's just the way Magic's going. I've not played cards like this before in draft, but you're almost always going to want to. So
Yeah, you're
just
gonna
go
play it
ahead.
99% of the time, but it's not gonna be the card like it was in like M11.
And don't feel weird about cutting it if your deck doesn't feel like if your eyes are drawn towards cutting it, be okay with that because
Yeah.
it's not it's just not what it used to be.
Yeah. Do so with conviction. Don't think
However,
don't think that it's what's the term? Like kill your darlings. It's not a sacred
I don't
horse,
know that.
sacred cow.
It's not a secret cow. It's not one of those cards that you'll get berated over not playing unless the person is over 35 years old. And then
Yeah,
the
pretty
person
much.
might yell at you, but they're old, so who cares?
Arcane adaptation. 3 mana rare enchantment. ETB, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. Same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So all of your creatures everywhere are the chosen type.
It's blue conspiracy for 2 mana less, and I've been asking for this for 15 years. Not that I want it, not that I want to play it now, but at the time I was really mad that it was a black card that cost 5 mana, and so
Yeah.
I'm happy that if I want to, it's there for me to play.
Well, they finally got around to reading your letter.
Carl's Jr. answered my letter about dollar chicken sandwiches like years and years before this. Like they were very responsive, but Wizards doesn't answer my questions about. They rarely do.
Cancel.
Ugh.
Sure.
If you have a
Another
dinosaur
card
draw
that's
card, anything, please, just make this
yeah.
one thing.
We can get the scry one.
Anything at all. Not cancel. Whatever you do, not cancel.
It's gonna be a card that you sideboard in some amount. But
Against
not,
green-centric dinosaur-themed decks.
Yep.
Decks that play that 8 mana Wrath Dino, you're just going to board into it. If you're main decking it, you should be worried about your deck and what it's trying to do. But maybe it's correct. But sideboarding it will be commonly correct against people that trend towards expensive dinosaur, big
Yep.
effects. Big effects, which in sealed, I think is going to be more common than normal. Even if it's incorrect to do so, I think people are going to be trending towards expensive decks in this set. So keep that on your radar. And that's why cancel is relevant. But in sealed, you just keep it out of your main deck, and you'll be happier.
well, I think you're way more likely to want it in sealed than draft, but
But just don't. But,
you're gonna want to board it in either case more often than
make
not.
it your 23rd, not your 24th cut.
Yeah, it's like you weirdly have to be heavy blue to play it too.
Yeah.
And
Which
one
might
thing, I'm glad cancel is so early in the alphabet because as soon as you see a card like cancel, like a kind of expensive counter spell, then it makes all of the like flash creatures and other instants go up a little in value.
I mean, you are right. That's a smart insight.
Chart a course, 2 mana sorcery, draw 2 cards, discard a card unless you raided.
Best card I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, this is
still
Greg
my heart.
Hatch all up and down.
This is going to be in Merfolk decks for 10 more years. I can't believe they printed the card at this point. It's phenomenal. It doesn't even make sense.
And if that
It's
creature is a
not-
Sage of Epithere, then you know what cards you're
They'll
drawing
stand
too.
those now. They will not be good very much longer.
Yeah, I mean, imagine for a moment if Blue got Tormenting Voice like a couple sets ago, how insane
Yeah.
it would have been.
Yeah.
And now you get a way better in every way Tormenting Voice in Blue.
And there's a character in StarCraft that says this, so you can
Chauticul?
use their accent.
Yeah.
Chauticul. So like, everything about it is great. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, very, very good point there about StarCraft. Daring Saboteur, 2 mana, 2/1, Human Pirate. All right, so pirates are a thing in this set as well, right?
Without question. There's the word non-pirate on several green cards.
Awesome. 2, you unblockable this turn. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card.
So, sign me up. It's not the best card ever,
Yeah.
but it's the best looter you're going to see on this side of the Mississippi.
Well, I mean, looters are busted. Like, they're just way too good to be
This is better than a looter. Right now.
printed. And this is a looter that is slightly worse early, but can actually just, like, kill an opponent late.
I was going to say it's better early in that you can trade it, whereas a looter is not a 2-drop you can rely upon. Like, if you have a looter in your opener, you kind of want to have another 2-drop. which might be infeasible, but this feels both the role of a 2-drop and a looter.
You and I play looters differently. I've never traded a looter
nice
off before turn 8.
Yeah, the split card thing is nice. The can't be blocked thing, if you want to use it early, you probably shouldn't be, but it is nice to have access to. You won't gain card advantage out of it, but you can always trade it early, which means that you don't have to have it sit in your hand as a mulligan liability, kind of like Probe was in Legacy.
Yeah, I think it's sweet.
It's going to see play in Constructed.
All the pirates cosplaying as Jace, too.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I wonder if Jace is like an inspiring enough amnesiac to like make everybody want to dress up as him.
Deadeye Quartermaster, 4-mana 2/2 pirate. ETB, search your library for an equipment or vehicle, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your library. I was expecting to put it on top. That's pretty good.
It's that's what it is. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's if Trinket Mage was busted, this is good.
Yep. It's weird that it's like any vehicle. It's not like boats. Like you just get fucking battering rams and shit with this. That's weird.
Well, I think that all the vehicles in this set are boats, like in a general sense. So you kind of get half your wish here.
All right, I'll let it slide. Welcome aboard, mate. You're going to need this. I like it. And yeah, as Hunter Lionheart pointed out, the art just looks exactly like Aaron Campbell.
That is an NPC like quote if I've ever heard of it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Deeproot Waters, 3-mana enchantment, uncommon. Whenever you cast a Merfolk spell, create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token with hexproof.
Could be
Greg
good.
gives it the thumbs up.
Could be good. I don't know. It could be good. It could be bad. I'm liking that I have options.
I didn't know that Merfolk were a thing also.
I get a proof. I get to try out a bunch of different things I wish existed, and maybe half of them suck. But this is one of them that I'm like, can't wait. Let's get in there and get a lot of answers to like red, white, blue control decks and modern. It's like the modern Merfolk like needle threader.
Sure, or the like Gearport Aether Grid against Stony Silence for Lantern decks.
Absolutely, it's just one of those things where like you might not actually be able to beat this card unless like you have your if you made like 2 or 3 card choices a little bit differently, all of a sudden you find yourself unable to deal with a card like this.
Yeah.
Like that's my dream, and I just dream. I live that.
I love that they like can't give them Island Walk anymore, so it's just a hexproof on your 1/1 tokens. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
it's a weird one. Depths of Desire, 3-mana common instant. Return to a creature to its owner's hand and create a colorless treasure artifact token. And treasure artifact tokens are lotus petals.
There's actually a lot of those, and I like that theme. But yeah, this will be cool.
I do as well, and I think that this card is like the right, balance of like, Repulse is way too good, but like
it helps you splash. If you have like 4 of these cards, you can splash cards.
Yeah, totally. It also helps if you're like some weird, like you're trying to bridge to a Dino late game or something. Like you can just get there a step ahead.
Sure.
I'm into it.
It doesn't, it effectively is like a fixed snap where you can't untap, Karoo lands or whatever. And it gives you an artifact if artifacts matter at all, like, not in this limited set maybe, but in other sets. But I like that it effectively costs 2, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I wish it was like 4 mana and you make 2 treasures of the version of this that cost more. But
this is something that like Hearthstone plays a lot with mechanics like this. Where like you don't really get anything for your mana now, but you gain the mana on the next turn, and that's like a really underrated thing in Hearthstone because like in Magic in Hearthstone, like doing 2 things in a turn is just the best thing you can do. And
right.
This stuff, like I'll happily pay the 1 more so that on turn 4 I can do 2 meaningful, or turn 5 or 6 or whatever, I can do 2 meaningful things in the same turn, and like. This turn, what? I didn't play a 2/3 for 3 instead,
Yeah, and then next turn, it's like you get to, especially if you know that next turn is going to be a critical turn given your opponent's deck or just your board position, it sets you up very nicely to play this card on the turn before that turn happens. And sometimes you can just predict that, and you know that it's going to happen that way given the nature of the things that are happening.
Or like you have...
Or 2-for-1s.
You have 4 mana and or 3 mana, and they're like, well, he can't have 2 combat tricks here, so I can beat 1 combat trick, so I'll attack all out. And you're like, haha, bonus mana.
I'm gonna dub this underload.
All right, I don't know, can't promise that catches on, but
Right.
You've stated it for the record. Dive down, blue, instant, common. Target creature gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Yeah, I mean, this is like the version of that indestructible card.
Yeah, I guess this is the museum skin of the set.
Yeah.
Not the other card. But
Yep.
but they both serve very similar functions. This one doesn't scribe, but this one can actually make a creature live in combat and survive any removal spell, but it depends how many Oblivion Ring kind of things there are in the set for this to matter against.
Yeah.
Basically, it's going to suck. You don't want to play this card.
Yeah. It's going to be real situational. But I love the flavor and art. Well, like,
Sure, yeah, going deep in the water.
diving deep in the water to avoid
more
the
toughness.
fucking bullet spears being shot at you.
Again, didn't notice. Love that you brought it up. That is sweet.
There is like a thing, like if somebody's like shooting an AK-47 at you, you only have to be like 6 feet underwater, and the bullet is slowed enough that it won't pierce you.
Yeah, and if you're 8 feet or more underwater, you get a little meteor shower.
You just like catch them out of the water as they float down
Right,
past
and-
you.
And then that's just free iron, you know?
Yeah. Dreamcolor Siren, rare 3/3 flash flyer for 4. Already on board.
I'm already
Slight drawback.
already there. Oh, way on.
Oh, sorry. I have to move you slightly. There we go. Oh wait, I just need to cut off this side of you a little more.
The most lackluster fourth ability in the history of fourth abilities.
Oh man, I haven't gotten there yet. Slight drawback. It's got the weird cloud elemental thing going on.
It's still on board, but I mean,
Well, it makes no sense. For cloud elementals, it makes sense, right? Because you can't
I'm
go
disappointed.
down.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Listen, clouds can't go to the ground to fight.
Dream callers can go anywhere.
Siren pirates with weird wings absolutely can. This is a bullshit ability.
Hips don't fly. Ugh, anyway.
Workshop that. Get back to me. When Dreamcolor Siren enters the battlefield, if you control another pirate, tap up to 2 target non-land permanents.
Okay. Whatever you want. Why
Take-
can't I tap lands again?
Yeah, take one of those like weird boxes out of the situation. Like, why do you have to have another pirate? Why does it have
Yeah.
to be non-land?
I mean, I get that you don't want this. You know, I appreciate that you don't want to fall into the you know, whatever the misbind like scenario, and I get the apprehension to do that. But you don't put this ability on. Put like a draw card, discard a card, anything else. This ability doesn't even make sense.
It's supposed to be like the
Must attack. It's a siren. Oh,
royal card or whatever, like the freeze cards that are in blue. But those cards operate on the assumption that you get 2 full turns out of it. Like, they don't untap the next turn.
It's just bizarre. I don't know if I can forgive him for this.
It's a really weird one. It's going to be
I'll
sweet
play it.
limited, but that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to have a really weird pirate tempo deck to construct with this.
So mad. I'm so mad.
Yeah, I can tell. That's the Grey Cat's mad counter is at like 5.5 now. Entrancing Melody. Blue X. Gain control of target creature with converted mana cost X. Well, they're finally figuring out how to make mind controls that aren't busted.
Right. This won't dominate the format, but it'll see play.
It's like I can't believe that like control magic, like they just made it cost 1 more and they're like, we're done here. This card's fair
that
now.
was the problem. Well, yeah, just like spreading plague, right?
Yeah,
The problem isn't that it costs 5. It's that if you read it, you know.
right. The rules text is too powerful.
Yeah.
They're finally
this
figuring
card
it
is good
out.
against dwarfs. It's good against Death Shadow. Anything above that, you're gonna wish you had threading, whatever, threads of disloyalty or whatever. But like
Yep.
in limited, of course, you're gonna play this every day and twice on Sunday.
Yep, it's obviously still a near bomb in limited. Totally, like, these types of effects, Sea Fringe, sideboard play, and standard, Though usually
Yeah.
they do something else also, like they the one that like gave you landfall every turn, and the one that like shrunk the creature, and the one that can steal artifacts is the most recent one.
Yeah,
So
binding. Yep. Oh, speculation. Notice. Okay. As soon as a morph is spoiled in the next set, in the next large set, you want to buy as many of these as possible because this card will go from 10 cents to $1 plus. And it's if you want to make some money, go ahead and do that.
you
If
heard
you
it here first,
as
folks.
soon as the morph is spoiled the first time, if you have about 4 hours to buy about 200 of these on Moto, and they will go up.
Fair enough. Favorable wins. We've seen this before. I made this comment on Twitter, but I'll make it again. It's weird that a card called Favorable Winds is just a reprint of the one that cares about flying, when this is a whole set with like pirates and sailing ships, which is where the term Favorable Winds comes from.
You know, I've always tried to toy around with the idea of having a card with the same name have two different rule texts, but you can only play 4 total of both of them. And this is the first example where I would have been okay with them doing it for no other reason than just because like you wanted the card name, and I understand that the rules text sucks, and but as it is, just don't include it, man.
Well, there's a bunch of those like super obscure unplayable cards from Alpha that just have one-word names that you would just love to use now.
Flare.
Yeah, Flare, Smoke.
Oh god,
Yeah.
Smoke. Camouflage.
Yeah, there's a million of them.
Oh,
And
man.
just completely wasted, card name space. But Favorable Winds is literally supposed to be for sailing ships, and we have sailing ships, and it's for flying dragon things in Dinosaur
there's
Land.
like no flyers in this set either. Like this,
Yeah.
so like we'll see.
Somebody in the chat says call it Favorable Winds, the British spelling.
Dude, you're a smart cookie.
Yeah.
They should have done that.
I like that a lot. Or just
Man.
Favorable Wind.
Wow,
Yeah.
man, that would have been.
Winds which are
Man.
favorable.
You
just jump
Wizards
around it.
might have forgot about
You print
this,
like 20
'cause, yeah,
cards.
Kalur is like that. Oh man, wow, Valor. Lots of different.
Oh, sigh. Alright, Fleet Swallower. 7 mana, 6/6 rare. Fish. Not a merfolk, a fish.
It's a card for fish.
When it attacks, target player puts the top half of his or her library rounded up into his or her graveyard. Johnny, fun Timmy card.
I mean, you're gonna love it if you like Well Wisher. You'll love this. You know.
Yeah.
It's the kind of card where it has a powerful effect that has no bearing on limited at all, no bearing on constructed at all.
Well,
but
if you're like
flashy.
some insane Grixis control deck with all the removal spells ever, like maybe you play it to kill them. But
As a 6/6 first and a win condition second.
yeah.
And the idea, I mean, you wouldn't play it if it wasn't a win condition, but the idea that it's a 6/6 at least makes it not unplayable. If this was like a 4/4,
Right.
For,
yeah, you play it because
mana,
it can block for a couple turns before maybe you decide to kill them.
come into play and attacks, that would be something.
Captain, I think that Island is following us is
great flavor text.
is
I
pretty.
don't think Jasconius was my favorite card. So I like this.
What's your favorite?
Island Fish Jasconius is my favorite card to reference. It's an old card that has no business being a card, but like just look at it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, it deserves to be a card. It's cute.
That's one that's gone through some hard times with creature type updates.
Dude, errata has not been kind in any form on that. I mean, it used to see the word you on it, for God's sake.
Headwater Sentries, 4 mana, 2/5 merfolk with a story to tell.
If this is good, I don't want this to be good, but it might be.
Nope. Herald of Secret Streams. These guys look more and more Zora, each one I see.
Well, wait till you get to the green merfolk.
Oh, okay. There's green merfolk now?
Uh-oh.
4 mana, 2/3. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them cannot be blocked. We've only seen a couple of cards that do that. It's just Explore, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's some green cards that do that, but so far it's just Explore.
There's that Sage from like Morningtide that puts counters on wizards, and most wizards are merfolk, so there's some oversight. So I wish this was a wizard also. But the fact that this card exists as a rare at 4 mana and it doesn't produce +1 counters on its own, it's honestly bizarre how bad this card is.
Yeah, it's quite overcosted. I mean, you
It
could just
costs
turn
3.
that dagger into like a magic wand and have some sparks coming out of it.
Why
as
doesn't
a
it cost
wizard.
3? This is hard to believe. Anyway, whatever. I just don't. It's a merfolk that I hate, and that's pretty rare.
Jace, Cunning Castaway, 3 mana planeswalker, mythic, obviously. 3 mana planeswalker is always worth noting.
Yeah, worth noting again. Yeah, revisit this every second week
Yep.
to make sure it's not good.
All right, here we go. Deep breath. Loyalty 3. +1, whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player this turn, draw a card, then discard a card.
Wouldn't want to get an extra card. Yeah, I understand. That'd be
Yeah,
way too
you
good.
wouldn't want your
Wouldn't wanna
Jaces
get
drawing
that.
cards. -2, create a 2/2 blue illusion creature token with, when this creature becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it.
I at -2, I understand why you'd want to make it fragile as fuck. Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah,
far so good.
a real hefty cost. And it's so weird that just for 22 years of Magic, it was always target of spell or ability. And then just in the past couple of years, they were like, just spells.
I actually like that quite a bit because it limits self combos and it makes the card not like terrible. Like the 2 blue and 2 for a 5/5 flying had only spells and not abilities. That card would have been pretty good because
Sure.
you need to use an actual card.
But
to get
they
rid of
also,
it
like-
generally.
Don't print pingers or tappers anymore either.
Exactly. So it's effectively the same anyway. But I do like what they're doing here. In
All right,
general,
I'm on board.
I don't like that I can't use Phantom Bear as a token accurately.
Yeah. There you go. That was my point. I don't really care either way. I just think it's odd that they changed it, you know.
No, I have noticed it too. I've been generally happier that they did it, but it does occur as like
I've
odd.
fucked it up. Like with that Phantom Monster thing, like I've messed that up multiple times on stream because I'm just so used to the illusions being spell or ability.
Sometimes it feels like they're out to get old player assumptions.
Yeah. Just abuse our
eating
heuristics
people.
until we're, brainwashed.
Yeah. It's happened to me a lot. Anyway, yeah, go on.
The ultimate, if you can call it that, is -5. Create 2 tokens that are copies of Jace, Cunning Castaway, except they're not legendary. So, first,
Okay.
let's talk about the ability itself, and then we'll talk about the rule. The ability
Yeah.
itself is fucking bizarre, because
Bizarre.
all you're gonna do is just like make 2 illusions, because the
Right.
loot ability is not that good. And
It's the first Jace that makes tokens, period, so that's worth noting.
That's kind of cool, and it makes 2 of them, tokens of itself and of illusions.
So he's, kind of a different Jace.
Yeah, and I saw somebody
And-
post that like doubling seasons or the like with this just means infinite Jaces, which means infinite 2/2s.
Yeah, and infinite loots.
Yeah, cute.
And then it's not a May either, so that +1 ability you better be careful with.
True. Well, also, just now noticing, I was bitching about the second ability not counting abilities, but the idea is that you want to be able to make a token and then +1 at the next turn.
Right.
So of course it can't be abilities. Like, duh.
Well, you don't actually target him with the +1, but I mean, beyond that, you get the.
Oh, okay. It just gives it. It's just like a blanket effect. Like if you deal combat damage at all.
Right. 1 or more looks a lot like up to 1. Yeah, I know. I know what you meant.
Yeah. That's weird. All right, and the
Yeah,
legendary rule. So, for a long time, Planeswalkers had a Planeswalker rule, which is just that, like, if something is a Jace, you can't have another Jace. Otherwise, what is essentially the legendary rule applies to it. Now you can have multiple Jaces or multiple Gideons as long as they're not the same exact one, because they are just legendary. Greg is smiling for some reason.
I got Diet Coke
You are so lucky.
delivery. It was nice.
This is fucking weird because the whole point of the legendary rule and the Planeswalker rule as it was is that, like, don't cross the timelines, you know? Like, you'll create a paradox if there's 2 different time periods of Gideons from different planes in the same place. Like, they can't touch or, reality collapses. But now they just don't give a shit about reality anymore.
Well, I mean, that goes in line with quantum theory, so maybe they're just updating with the times.
Maybe.
No, I'm with you in that. Like, I don't know why this change was so important. It doesn't not make sense on the face of it. Like, if it was this way from the first time they changed the Planeswalker rule back when you couldn't have 2 Jaces total, and now you could have a Jace on each side. If that was the way it was changed originally, I wouldn't have batted an eye. But the fact that they changed it twice, and the second time felt like it wasn't even necessary, felt like it was like a fix to the rules that they fucked up. It was too late in this, or like I don't know. Did they want to do this? Did they want to do it for a long time, and they just now got around to it? It's bizarre in that I don't know who was asking for this.
Well, I liked like the deck building challenge of like I can't just play 4 of the best Gideon and 2 more Gideons because I might get Gideon flooded. But now I can just play,
that hatred.
I can just play 3 and 3
important.
or whatever, and it's fine.
I guess, yeah, like maybe there was enough pushback on that, and they thought it was important pushback. You know, like they wanted to address that pushback. But like, I wish they wouldn't make any sense.
I guess. And then the other rules change, we might as well talk about it now with the Planeswalkers, is you no longer deal damage to the opponent and then redirect it as the damage is happening. You target the Planeswalkers. So basically all of the burn spells that say like deal damage to a player or to creature or player are now going to all be errataed to say creature, player, or Planeswalker. So Lightning Bolt has new rules text.
Wait, really? I did not know that.
Yes.
That is crazy. I'm glad you said something because I thought I knew everything there was to know on this. That is the most bizarre thing I've heard in a long time. It makes a ton of sense. I'm also upset.
Yeah. It makes sense, but the fact that Lightning Bolt has different rules text is insanity.
It means that you can't play any Lightning Bolt that exists as it is right now, of which there's like 7 different promo ones that vintage players like, and like a bunch of other things like this that you just literally can't play and have the rules text be correct. And that bothers me to no end because that means during drafts, people need to say, hey, I have a question about the rules text on like a lot more cards. And that stuff shouldn't piss me off, but it does. I really don't like the lack of purity that creates because it kind of means, oh, he opened Lightning Bolt if there's only so many of those. Maybe if there's like 20, that it makes it so that it's, you know, it could be any of those 20 cards, but it's still just a lack of purity that I really hate and I could really drone on about for quite a while.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Hate it.
Chat is saying that they were just thinking about it, but it was my understanding that it was a rule being announced and implemented in Ixalan. So, I don't know if I'm right or if you're right, but somebody should follow up on that.
I feel as though you're... I mean, I was surprised when you said that, and I trusted you.
I mean, I got that info from, like, the Mothership and an Aaron Forsyth tweet that was retweeted by Lee Sharp.
Well, Lightning Strike in this set says deal 3 damage to a creature or player. So it looks like we got some time. And thanks for the suggestion.
Well, these are, you know, sent to the printers 6 months before they're published. So that doesn't really mean anything.
It means something.
It might mean something. It could possibly maybe mean something.
It's a good indicator.
I'm going to get water before we get to this Planeswalker. You can talk to the chat for a moment.
Sure. And you talk about the Kopala Warden of Waves. I'm the resident Merfolk expert here. If you wanna say that, this card is just, it's not gonna see play. It's just not gonna see play. I don't know. It doesn't protect future Merfolk as well as it protects right away, and it doesn't require that it itself be subject to a 2-for-1. Like, it's not Kira. It's better against Abrupt Decay, but it's not better against Lightning Bolt. And in a general sense, the card just doesn't do anything to decks that are playing fair. It doesn't pump. It's just fine. I don't know. It might see play, but it'll see play in very small numbers in the sideboard, just like Kira and Monastery Siege have been in Merfolk. I wish this card was good. I wish it was good, but it's not. I know these waters better than I know myself. STI Phoenix, there is... Oh, sorry, not that. Scooter 222, you don't replace it. The deck was dead before I was playing it, but it's certainly dead now. I loved that deck. I still have it sleeved. My Mox Opals have not gone on any other deck besides that one, and I shuffle it, and while I watch Netflix, I just try to win on turn 2. I love that deck more than anything. And the fact that it's banned, I'm willing to give it up as a sacrifice to killing Miracles. Miracles was, it needed to go. It wasn't wrong. It just needed to go. It's like Jitty. It's nothing against Jitty. It just needed to go. It's too good. It's weird. It makes matches unfun. And if that means top had to be banned and that means my combo's banned, I have to say that's fine. But you don't replace it. The deck's dead. It was fragile enough as it is, but without top, it's less resilient, less robust, and less good, and harder to go off. You'd have to change everything about it. It was never any, like, the problem with that deck is it was never a silver bullet deck. I tried it that way, and it was never good enough. The silver bullets you can get with it weren't good enough, and so you have to combo with it, and without top, the combo sucks. But if you want to build a silver bullet deck with, like, I don't know, Muddle the Mixture and, like, Force of Will and Legacy and, like, play more blue cards and, like, do a different kind of thing, then you can have a silver bullet version of the Artificious Intuition, but you have to be honest with yourself at the end of the day and know that there's better ways to do that with, like, Death and Taxes or something. The deck is dead.
What deck is dead?
So the Artificious Intuition deck with he was asking what you replace Sensei's Divining Top with, and I'm like, you don't.
Yeah, the deck needed that.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad before, but it's not a thing now.
Yep.
I love that deck more than anything, though. I still goldfish it.
Let's transition to a deck that you do also still
I talked
love.
about how much I disliked this card. and the fact that, like, it's like Kira and Monastery Siege, where if it sees play, it'll be one or two in the sideboard, and only because Abrupt Decay exists and is played with marginal frequency, and it's good against, like, Rending Volley, but, like, in general, this card just won't get the job done. It doesn't 2-for-1 their removal. It doesn't give you what you need, and it doesn't give +0, +2 to all your Merfolk. It doesn't give anything that matters.
Yeah.
And Kira, I'd rather have Kira non-Merfolk than this card a lot of the time, and Monastery Siege is probably upgraded by this card in some regard.
Yeah.
But overall, Merfolk can't be good unless cards like this aren't necessary.
That is very well put. I thought that this would only really see fringe play as you said, against Abrupt Decay, and also to split with Kira's since they're both legendary.
Maybe in Standard, if a Merfolk deck emerges, this will see play.
Sure.
But it'll look very different than the Merfolk deck that I'm used to.
Yeah, like, people are having to shave, like, Marrow Regeries and shit. Like, 3 mana is a lot for those decks.
I shave with Marrow Regeries. I like that card and I cut it still.
Yeah. Lookout's Dispersal. 3 mana counterspell. What's the Convolute? It's a Convolute, but costs 1 less if you control a pirate. Not a cost 1 less for each pirate you control.
That would be far, far too powerful.
Which would be awesome.
Honestly, it might be.
Like, I would totally play a fucking counter Slivers pirate deck, counter pirate deck.
If it was counter spell for 1 blue and 3, and it cost 1 less for each pirate, we would have a conversation about this. But as it is, it's still pretty good if it was the way you said it. And as it is, I'm disappointed that it's not something better. It's fine. Yeah. It'll see play in limited. This will see more play than cancel. Very certainly. The fact that it costs 1 blue means you can splash it in your red-white deck against, like, bombs and stuff.
Yep.
So, like, pay attention to this card in packs. It's an uncommon. You're gonna not realize you need it if your deck is really vulnerable to top-level cards, but has, like, a lot of early attrition. Just keep it in mind. It's Convolute, which finds its way into a lot of decks. And in Standard, this will see some play next format, maybe, but not this format.
Yeah, I mean, Metallic Rebuke looked really promising and never saw any play. So this is way worse than Metallic Rebuke. So
yeah, pirates are not nothing in this set, but they're not something either yet.
Yep. Navigator's Ruin. 3 mana enchantment does nothing unless you raid, but raid at the beginning of your end step. If you attack with a creature this turn, target opponent puts the top 4 cards of his library to his or graveyard. All right, so it doesn't do anything if you raid either.
Well, it'll mill about 20 cards unlimited. So if you're if you plan it out that way, well, so it's worth keeping in mind. But it's like Hedron Crab in that it's on the radar, but don't play it unless you know what you're doing.
Right, and it needs help. Like, it needs cheap.
It needs help.
Flyers and unblockable stuff. Like, Hedron Crab
You know,
kind of just did it on its own.
it needs like Glint Hawk Crane or whatever that card is. Like it needs cards like that, and a lot of them that do good. I'm not ready to discount this card in limited because any card that costs 3 that you can basically guarantee will mill 20 cards over 6 turns is worth considering.
Yeah.
Like you can make sure that this happens, but make sure you know what you're doing when you have a card like this.
Yeah, I mean, like
Don't play a lot of counterspells. Don't play a lot of bounce. Play a lot of creatures in like 3 of these.
Like in a normal deck, first of all, you can't spend your 3rd turn doing nothing, and then like if you get to attack 5 times or 6 times from turns, 4 or 5 on for like 5 consecutive turns, like you probably just already won. Like they're probably at 0 life.
This card reminds me of Inexorable Tide.
You have to use it. Yeah, you have to use it in a very specific scenario.
And in that deck, it's very good. Like this card, for example, if you have a deck with like 19 1-power creatures, this card is about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure you know what you're doing, and that deck's actually good when you don't draw it.
You won't be needing this or these. Uninspired, I would say.
Uninspired is right. Even the art could have been more, even though it's well drawn.
Yeah, the art is good. The art direction was not.
Could not agree more. Sorry, Zoltan.
It also very much looks like a creature. Like I think that I am this. Like this card is this girl.
This guy draws a card if I control Pirate for sure.
yeah, exactly.
And my opponent discards a card if they control 2 lands or something.
Yeah. One with the wind.
This card's a creature.
One with the wind is just spectral wings or whatever.
Yeah.
Another card that has to do with the winds that is in the air and not on the sea.
Yeah.
Big thumbs down for me.
Yeah. Maybe these ships are going to be airships next set or something. There's something going on that maybe next set's like an airship set and we just don't know it. But that was Kaladesh, so fuck, I don't know.
I was gonna say we just had those, and a bunch of them got banned.
Speaking of updated rules text, Opt got a cool little errata. I don't think it was Scry 1 before, even though it was literally Scry 1 on the card. I don't know if they ever officially changed it.
Nope.
But now that it is, that's nice.
Yep. They did change it with this is the first time they changed it. It was not Scry 1 before.
I mean, and it literally was, but it wasn't. Kind of like how Fear and Intimidate were the same but different for a while.
Yeah.
But
well,
this is
Scry matters because there's things that are like when you scry, trigger and do something.
Nice of them. I totally.
If those cards exist, you need all the things that scry to scry. And as for like 1-mana cantrips in Standard, I mean, yeah.
Where do I sign up? I mean, do I sign up? I mean, I was playing Peak in Modern, and their hand was nice, but mostly I wanted to play a spell with Snapcaster Mage that didn't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And they banned Crow.
To address Kenny Wings, the next set, like the small guy that goes along with this one. But yes, I think the next set, the next large set is Dominaria.
They've hinted that it's Dominaria again.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah, Opt is great. I mean, it's bonkers that they let us play with Ponder and Preordain in Standard.
That was what I think when Magic grew up, is when we banned Ponder and we got over it because it was the right thing to do. That's when we grew up as a culture. We're like, you know what?
Yeah.
That is too good. We never, before that, we always thought Frost Titan was the problem and not Jace, But now
we were children. So wet behind the ears.
That Ponder and Preordain were the problem, and it's not even a weird to say that anymore. And that's why Opt is an admission that we know what we did was wrong, and now we're ready to do the right thing. And this is about as powerful as we're willing to make a card like this.
Yeah, and it's still quite good.
Yeah,
this
we're gonna play 4 of them.
Me being happy to play with 4 of these shows how stupid Preordain was.
Right, and how good Opt is, because I am willing to I'm ready to underrate cards like this. My love of 1 blue cantrips, goes far beyond the cards that were banned.
Yeah.
And this is the best version of this. I mean, it competes directly with Peak, and Peak was good. You know.
I mean, Peak still saw Modern play.
Yeah, I played 4 in the Twin deck.
You might have been the only one that played 4, but a lot of people played like 1 or 2. Overflowing Insight. 7 mana, target player draws 7 cards.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity that you don't have to answer the door if you don't want to.
Yep. I mean, it's this and the the WWX gain twice X life, put it on the bottom, is like build your own rev.
Yeah, like do what you. This card is just fine. It's just a fine, like, you'd rather play the other card, the one that draw X, discard a card, where you only get four extra cards for 7 mana. I'd rather play that.
Pull from tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if this actually looks and feels like an enchantment where you draw 7 cards every upkeep.
Yeah.
But like as it is, it's just not good. I mean, it should have flashback or something. This is a weird card. It costs too much, and drawing 7 really isn't all that great.
Yeah.
After 4 cards, you don't need the other 3 until way later.
If this was an instant and you could like torrential gear Hulk it.
Yeah, if it was an instant.
Then we'd be talking. But
we'd be talking a lot.
I think like this is a card that like Shota and Wafutapa and Adrian Sullivan are going to try and play with.
Yeah, I mean, if it was an instant, they would have already proxied it.
Yeah, and you can hit them with a mill enchantment a couple times and then bang.
Remember Forced Fruition? It looks like that card.
Yeah.
And Forced Fruition was a card. I tried to look up the price of it. It's like $20, and I was like, you know what? I'm proud of you.
Yeah, you did it, kid.
I'm proud of you, Forced Fruition. You really made some of yourself.
Perilous Voyage, 2 mana instant. Return a non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. It's already like a weird couple of restrictions. If its converted mana cost was 2 or less, scry 2.
Okay.
Sure.
It's a cool theme that if they realize that if you're going for a casting cost of 2 or less, you didn't really get the value of the card advantage you lost on bouncing. The reason why Boomerang is good is you bounce a 4-mana creature, you paid less than they did for it, but you lost a card, maybe it's even. So if it's 2 or less, you get to scry 2. I like that they're thinking about me, and they're thinking about that use case. And maybe on a different card, this would excite me, but this is kind of boring.
So I agree. It makes sense. It's a cute design. I wouldn't give it any more than the word cute. But it is fairly underwhelming. And I would be ready to move on and be like, all right, that's fine. And you'll probably play it in your blue decks. But I just noticed that this is one of the like important cards of the story.
Oh. There's Nebraska Mufasa's Jace.
Yeah, this is like a fucking...
Oh, Nebraska wanted to save him, I see.
The first time in my life, Nebraska tried to prevent death. Yeah. That's fucking weird. It's like I
actually don't know the story.
The Ajani joins the fray. Untap your creatures. It's like, what? This is like a huge moment. Why is this so underwhelming? Like,
all the huge moments are like, do 3 damage to a fucking attacking creature. You're like,
well, and then some of them are like...
Aren't you unjailing Chandra right now?
Yeah, like some of them are just like absurdly powerful and like, get decks built around them. And then some of them are like unplayable combat tricks. This is obviously somewhere in between, but it's just weird. Like, if you're not going to make it a bomb that the story is, then at least like push it a little. Make it unique.
This is sideboard, not overboard.
Yeah. I don't know. Make it unique at least. Pirate's Prize. 4 mana, draw 2 cards at sorcery speed, but you get a treasure token.
See, it should be 2 treasure tokens as sorcery, or instant 1 treasure token, either one. But as is, not excited.
Yeah, I agree. You might
I'll
play
it in limited if I wanted to play divination, but I'll keep
if you're like a blue-green base, if you're like a blue-green base 5-color deck, you're like happy to have these.
It's better when you have more 1-mana tricks. If you have like 4 or more 1-mana tricks, this gets a lot better.
Sure. Well, that's the other side of the spectrum, right? Like, if you're like a blue-white tempo deck and you need this to like keep up the pressure, then that's true. I was thinking the first archetype that came to my head is like 5-color green, where like you're using it to splash your bombs and accelerate into your big plays. But either way.
Yeah, nothing more with the heart like plunder. What about treasure?
Yeah, I don't know about that one either. There's like 2 or 3 writers in their flavor writing staff that love these little like pithy things, but they're just trite like 80% of the time.
I don't mind that they exist. I think that Magic's one of the few sets where the flavor text is passable most often. but and kind of like really cheeks my heart when it's like a good one. And
Yeah.
rarely am I like, oh, that's awful. And
Oh,
other games,
I'm
I
like
don't
that
know.
on most of them.
Well, other games just never hit the mark. Like they never have good flavor text. So Magic is doing the impossible, kind of.
I mean, I'm like, oh brother, like 80% of the cards.
But like, think about other sets with flavor text. Like I can't even remember one of them, you know, and they try.
Right, they're not memorable because they're not good.
Yeah, other games. I mean, like,
Oh.
but like
Well,
in
I mean, I
Magic,
don't really play other games, but like Hearthstone has good flavor text, but it's all like
verbal.
inside baseball. Like it's all just like jokes.
Sure.
So those are obviously easier to write than like expanding a world.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think of some other examples. There was a
I don't play other games. Like there's no flavor text in chess or poker, you know.
yeah flavor text in in chess would be like asterisk hits clock asterisk.
Prosperous Pirates. 5 mana, 3/4. Get a treasure. There's two treasures. Ooh la la. All right, this is another Shuhei card or another 5-colored blue card.
Yeah, and this is like, I mean, at the heart of it, it's a 3-mana 3/4 that costs more on turn 3. You know, but every other situation, this is what
Well,
the treasures were made for.
It has it has Sarah Avenger text.
Dude, exactly. Sir, it's a cross between Sarah Avenger and Herringren Drake, where you untap the lands.
Yeah.
You know, like it just gives you it gives you a little rebate. It's
Yeah,
nice.
it makes it so that you can hit your 5-drop and still like attack with mana up.
I
Snake.
definitely think the card will see play in limited for sure. It's going to be a
Yeah.
high pick limited card. It's going to be part of the 5-color blue deck, as it seems.
For sure. River Snake, 2 mana 1/1 can't be blocked. So this is the one that goes with the mill.
Right.
This is the Slither Blade.
Yeah, it should cost 1, but the ability is not trivial. But it won't see play in any modern or legacy Merfolk decks. I mean, if it does, I'd be surprised. But it just doesn't got the power level it needs. But it is interesting.
Nope, it's just a good cheap tribal enabler for the limited Merfolk deck.
I wish it was a wizard, but I'll deal.
It fights. It can't be blocked. It's an attacker. It's a warrior. People are commenting on my Magic Cup again.
I thought that was cool too.
When we started the stream, I was drinking like a green smoothie. It was like a smoothie, but it had kale in it, so it was like light green. And the chroma key had no idea what to do with it, so it was like sparkling. Like it looked like I was drinking like pixie dust.
You know, what if messing around with that? Anyway, well, that gives me something to think about.
River's Rebuke, 6 mana sorcery rare. Return all non-land permanents target player controls to their owner's hand.
All right. I mean, this is not. What was that card with Overload? Cyclonic Rift. I mean, that's
No.
a card. This is not a card.
No,
I mean, it's good. You're probably going to play it in limited. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
To play in limited.
It's a
But
it's a doorbuster in limited, right? Like
You're going to miss Cyclonic Rift.
it's your game breaker in limited. You'll play it or sideboard it against other decks that like stall out the board. But
It's pretty rare that this card will be. You're gonna die with this in your hand a lot.
yes, and you're gonna single-handedly win the game the turn you cast it a lot.
You're gonna be annoyed that your opponent. You're gonna lose to this a lot too. So be prepared
Yes.
for that.
Oh,
This card
I'm
is
gonna
the
lose
most, like,
this
polarizing
way
card
more
I've ever
often than I'm gonna win with it.
Very polarizing card.
I'm gonna lose to this 10 times for every one time I win with it.
It's going to see play. It's going to be good. It's just weird that it exists because I don't know that we needed a card like this.
So this is another insignia card, and I'm on board with this one because even though it's not pushed power level wise, it's a huge effect.
Right?
So it's telling a story in a way that is more, like this is
Big
a key
trap.
event. Like
Right,
this
this
other
is-
one's
this
like,
is-
oh my
this
god,
is-
Jace is gonna fucking die. Bounce a thing. Maybe you get to scry. Like it's so stupid.
It's a huge. Yeah, I mean, this is a. You walked right into this one. This was a landmine just waiting to happen.
Yeah.
They had to set up ready to go. And I do like the idea that blue has an answer that's like Wrath of God that's not Wrath of God. I think every set blue tries to do this, and this is only good and limited again, so it should have cost less or been like 4 blue and 1
Well,
or something
they do this a
crazy.
lot. Like you said, Cyclonic Rift was good. Crush of Tentacles saw like constructed play.
This is just boring.
Like there are ways to do this effect that are sweet. This is not one of them.
And yet we'll see play. It's uninspired, and we'll see play anyway, and that kind of pisses me off.
Run Aground, 4 mana. Or this is just Griptide.
Griptide for artifacts too. Sure.
Oh, it hits artifacts. Yeah. Sure, on board.
Okay.
These are the cards that you look
Don't
for.
target a treasure. They'll sack it, and you won't get any card advantage out of it because why would treasure can't go on top anyway? So
Bad idea. Bad idea.
But just don't even think about it.
These are the cards that you look for when you're like, can I play counter magic in my deck? How many of cards that are like this, like these?
Totally. How many non-card advantage? Sorry, how many card advantage neutral cards that act as removal do I have in my deck? And that lets me play cancel or not.
Yep. Sailor of Means, a 3 mana 1/4 pirate. ETB, get a treasure. This is like the backbone of the treasure deck.
This is the Solha Skywatch or Sky whatever the cure. It's basically a 2 mana 1/4 5 color blue enabler. Like you're gonna be able to.
It's your Horn
splash
Turtle. It's your Kraken Hatchling, but way
Armored
better. It actually reminds me the most of the zombie in original Innistrad that just mills 4.
Armored Scab. That's
like when you
exactly.
when you cast that thing, like you're just like, all right, the game plan is like off to a good start. I'm underway to do exactly what I want to do.
The way it's going to be. I mean, like, it sets this is the preface of the match written early.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I know what I'm in for now.
Yeah, this is going to be a card that like is going to table but shouldn't for like the first few drafts.
Yeah, it's not Trick Image, but it is Armored Scab. Like Armored Scab shouldn't have ever tabled, and it tabled for fucking months.
Yeah.
Shaper
Apprentice, a 2 mana 2/1 Merfolk Wizard, has flying as long as you control another Merfolk. Sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna want. This is the Welkin term we were talking about in a way, and this will see play. It's gonna be good.
Yep. Shipwreck Looter, 2 mana 2, another 2 mana 2/1. This one's a pirate. When it ETBs, if you attack with a creature this turn, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So you
wouldn't want to get up on cards.
You only get to loot once if you attack.
Hyper aggressive. Like they're always trying to attack more than just power and toughness. They're just attacking for all their cards to work.
Pirates?
Yeah, pirates and merfolk. They got to be attacking.
Yeah.
Or it's just pirates, just raid in general.
Raid is a weird ability because it's exclusively snowball-y.
It's fixed bloodthirst.
Yeah, in a way.
I like that you're able to attack with 0 power creatures and trigger it. I like that it's more of a focus on exploration versus battle. Have you just done something with your creatures this turn? Okay, then you have momentum. You can turn something on. But it's not about attacking necessarily. But I like that this card is like it's like Vidalian Merchants or whatever. Like
yeah,
the one
that was the card that came to mind.
It's nice that the card is this way because it makes it so it's a pirate that I can play without really having to embarrass myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It's just like the Shaper Apprentice, A 2/1 for 2 is like already pretty much there. And then like looting once is a fine thing to get it over the top.
If you have a lot of pirate themed stuff, like if you control pirate kind of stuff, like this is a card that you're going to want to pick higher than normal, but just always keep in mind that it's, at the end of the day, it's a coral eel. And do you want that card or not?
Yeah.
Shorekeeper.
Creature Trilobite.
This card does not have to tap, does not have to sacrifice, could be pay 8, draw 3 cards. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do with cards like this.
Well, they don't want you to raid and draw 3.
For 8 mana, why do I have to tap it? Why do I have to tap it?
Because for a Trilobite to, give birth to the next form of evolution, it has to die.
Well, sacrifice it, fine. Just don't make me tap it.
Oh.
I don't get the tap part of it.
It's such a small aren't really known for exerting themselves.
I just don't get the tap. I mean, make it tap only or sacrifice only. Both is just like, why?
Yeah, it's
what are you trying to teach the kids what tap and sacrifice means? Maybe that's actually a good thing if that's, you're teaching them cost and an ability, but the motivation behind making a card like this eludes me. It's
a little weird, but a Trilobite is already a little weird, so it's like you know.
It would be tough to play a card like this in limited. You'd have to have a very specific deck.
Well, this is just they're trying to make invokers, but invokers were too good.
Well, don't make it do damage to a player, and we're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else was okay.
I mean, the white one was busted.
Oh well, that was not a card. I blocked that out of my memory. The fact that it existed.
The white one was busted, and the red one was a little too good.
Did anybody read the card before they made it? I mean, that card is not that. It's like the ballista thing. It doesn't need to exist in the form it existed in. It's just
that was also
bizarre.
in a time where like extending the purpose in that way was not really done, and now all of the cards extend their own purpose. So why do we need more of these? You know, every single card is like, oh, it's passable, but if you draw it late game, then it does something even more. Like every card is like that. There's no card that like you can draw at the wrong time. You know. That's like the way that power creep went. Like it didn't make it so that, you know, every game ends by turn 2. It just makes it so like every card is always live and does something impactful. There's no duress that you like hope to not draw against your mono red opponent.
One sec, buddy.
Okay. That's my rant on extending the purpose. Like
Yeah,
like Lay of the Land used to be good enough, and now there's like 4 Lay of the Lands, and they all do something else amazing too. It's like,
and so Lay of the Land sucks now, and they didn't need to obsolete it the way they did, and they could have made better abilities on these even as they were. Pay 8, tap, draw 3 instead of like pay 8, draw 1. But if that was the thing you're trying to say, is that's you were never going to make a pay 8, draw 1. So I'm upset that you're drawing the comparison, like as a Magic card developer, like it should be pay 8, tap, sacrifice, draw 5 cards. You know, something crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the red one better be do 7 damage to an opponent, but it's not going to be. It's going to be like 3 damage, and you're going to be like, dude, I was doing this 5 years ago over and over again.
Yeah.
Like this feels like I'm being cheated.
Yep, agreed. Siren Lookout, a 1/2 flyer for 3, but you explore. So again, about 60% of the time, you will have a 2/3 flyer and get to do this super scry.
And the other part of the time, you don't draw land. Instead, you draw. You get card advantage out of it. You get the land off the top of your library, literally by drawing it.
Yeah.
And you have a 1/2 flying that cantrips for 3. When both examples are good, it's already fine to play.
Yep.
But this definitely just fixes your draw step like a harbinger. So everything about the card is just wonderful. Like this is a perfect example of what you want a card like this to look like. The 2/1 first strike has the potential to not be all that whelming in the general sense, but Siren Lookout is better at doing what it's trying to do.
The just the explore mechanic feels like fixed clash almost, you know.
Yeah.
Siren...
I guess the 3-mana 3/2 first strike is pretty good now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
you know that card's better than that too. Maybe they're all just great.
Well, they're all good, and the cheap ones are that much better.
Yeah. All right, I'm coming around on that one.
Siren Storm Tamer, another flying man. This one
Siren
is a
Pirate Wizard Purple.
Pirate Wizard. Blue Sacket, counter target spell or ability that targets you or creature you control. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Nothing to say here except the card, you know, is how playable it is in limited is a weird question because it's never going to be great, and I could see a deck where you play this without the ability to get your creature types in order, but when you use the ability, you'll never know how good it actually was because what it does is prevent your opponent from playing the game plan they wanted to play for multiple turns.
Right.
So you never actually know how good it's going to be ever, literally ever.
Yep. Yeah, unless you're like IRL and can ask your opponent directly after the game, and they're honest.
And they don't lie to you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, like everything about it's a curse catcher in that I never know how good that card is, but I do know it's good.
Well, and I was gonna draw the comparison because like Judge's Familiar and Curse Catcher and like cards that have sort of similar abilities to this, like see play in all formats.
You have to be a kind of a high-seeing vizier of the game to know how good cards like these are, because you have to have a good understanding of both players' intentions and motivations and the impact a card had on mana curve. The whole thing needs to be well understood.
Yeah, you have
in
to
a way
have a real
that you get the information with days, but not with a creature with the same ability.
Yeah.
And this is one of those like, did I stop a 4-mana spell, Fate's Fetters, from being played? Or did this, did they never have it and I left mana up and it was actually worse for me.
Right. Yeah, and as Archmage points
trigger
out,
rate.
yeah,
Yep.
1/1 flyer, if for nothing else, is good for raid. Siren's
Raid is
Ruse-
like a tribal element in its own right.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm gonna play all my fucking trilobites when I got my 2-drop raiders.
Try hard to bites.
Siren's Ruse, 2 mana instant, flicker. If the thing you flicker is a pirate, draw a card.
Okay.
Yep, on board. There's a bunch of things with ETB abilities as well as
That's
just
what's
saving things.
You can cast this on the 5 mana one, and you get the 2 treasures right back and draw a card. So it's like a free cycle and,
Yep.
and like saves it from removal. There's a few instances where you can get like some value out of this that's better in a general sense. But if you control a pirate, or you have like 7 pirates in your deck, this is a lot like Surge of Thought Weft, where it's like, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
But like, keep in mind that it is an Essence Flux or a Cloud Shift. Like it is just a do nothing card, so it requires your opponent to be an active participant in your relationship for this card to be good.
Well, I think that this card shines when you don't have to rely on your opponent.
Well, no,
right?
what I mean to say is that it's great when it can counter a removal spell, and
Right.
it's fine if it's only in the
Right.
battlefield stuff.
Yep.
But if you only have one or the other, you need to be careful about playing cards like this.
Yep. Spell Pierce, I mean, gonna be a defining card in Standard, especially
And-
with
and-
like
and-
Planeswalkers being pushed and such. It's just super impactful. Sweet art. Meh. Got anything else to say about Spell Pierce?
It's going to be hotly debated in what's it called in limited, whether or not it's playable or not. People
Yeah.
are going to have wildly different opinions about the playability of this card, but I think it's generally unplayable.
You say unplayable?
Generally unplayable.
Yeah, I agree. I'd lean heavily
People-
towards the side
people
of do not play it. Spell Swindle, 5 mana counter spell, and you get treasure equal to its converted mana cost. So this is another fixed mana drain.
They've been trying to fix their motorcycle for decades.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really see this finding a home, but sometimes these like weird, expensive counter spells find homes. Like the one that is like you get 3 clues, like 5 mana
Yeah.
counter spell, get 3 clues. Like that's all fringe play.
And I get what they're doing, and the idea that like you get X of these treasure tokens, like this is not a trivial benefit. This is not a shattering spell or whatever that card is, like
Right.
where you have to clash to get it. This is not Spelljack. It's something different, and you could want a card like this. Like you could untap and win with a make all your creatures 5/5s, make all your
Yeah.
artifact creatures 5/5s. Like there's a lot of interesting room for this to be good in like a Tezzeret EDH deck. But in limited, it's a 5 mana counterspell that gives your next spell for free. It's like a bad rewind. So you better know what you're doing. Well, not a bad rewind, but like it's just be careful. This card is not. You don't want to auto include this in limited, but it could be a good card depending on what you're doing.
Yep. Stormfleet Aerialist is another one of these things that's going to love those 0/3 raiders. It's a 1/2 flyer for 2, but raid is +1/+1 counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, good flying pirate.
This is like all those fairies that were 1/1 flyer for 2 and becomes a 2/2 if you do something very specific. This is like the most fair version of those, and it's a 2/3 on top of that. So
Yep.
I mean, I'm ready to have blue have non-irrelevant, high toughness flying 2-drops, and this is a first on multiple fronts.
Yep. Even if you don't get to raid it then raids everything else for you.
Right.
So yeah, Stormfleet Spy, 3 mana, 2/2 raid, draw a card.
Where do I sign up?
Yep.
Nothing wrong with this. It's just a top level 3 mana draw. Just card advantage. It's just very good. I mean, you can't always have the 3/2 draw card with the other. What was that card on the other side? The Refiner.
Yeah.
It's not Refiner, but it's good.
Road Refiner was like way too good, so
And this is if you forgot what reasonably good is, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Rogue Refiner, comparing to that card is the bad way to compare it. This
Yeah.
card is very good.
Yep. Storm Sculptor, 4 mana, 3/2, can't be blocked. So another good raid enabler or mill enchantment role player. ETB, return a creature you control to its owner's hand.
Control. Why do I have to do this?
It's a weird. It's one of those things where like it's a clear drawback that you have to turn into an ability.
I don't know if this set has it in it to have to redeem that ability. There's not like an obvious amount of cards that can benefit from being bounced again. I am not on board with this. I am not on board with this card.
Explore is the only one, right? Or
Yeah.
like if you had to play your aerialist so that you could raid your Stormfleet spy, but then you want your
Yeah.
Storm Sculptor to get your aerialist up to 2/3, you bounce it.
If it was a 4-3, we could have conversations. At 3-2, it's offensive.
Yeah, I
Like
agree. I agree. It could have been sized a little more aggressively.
the fact that it can be blocked is relevant, and if you're hyper aggressive with a lot of one drops, it's not that big of a disability. It's kind of like that morph 3-2 that can't be blocked, where like like if you have the right deck for it, it's a good finisher, and you're going to want a card like that. If you can be sure you'll bounce something that costs very little, or that you can get value out of it on turn 6 or something, but having to rely on this means that you can't play it on empty board. You just can't play an empty board. Like
That is true, but
it's tough.
I'm
Avoid
also
this card.
seeing that the next two cards are cards that you would want to use with it. So let's get to them.
Oh sure.
Tempest Collar 2/3 for 4. ETB tap all creatures opponents control. That is like the good version of that 6 mana bounce all their shit. Where like you just win the game now on, turn 11.
This is a fair sleep. The fact that it comes as a creature instead of doesn't last 2 turns is only it means it's only 70% as good on the face of it, and way better in that it's a creature in its own right.
Right.
I love the card. It's not too powerful. It is very good, and it should be highly picked.
Yep. It's good to blink. It's good to bounce with your Storm Sculptor if you are forced to play it. I'm on board.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Subjugation Angel ended a lot of games, and this is just a slightly smaller Subjugation Angel.
And it's a Merfolk. I mean, so that's just very important.
Yep.
And in the green-blue Merfolk deck, having this in your deck allows you to break through where otherwise you get them to 10 and then get trumped by dinosaurs. This is just one of many cards that lets you break through, and it's good at doing exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. The creature-centric way that Magic's designed now leads to a lot of board stalls.
Yep.
I also like that the flavor text is always italicized to emphasize with italics the am. They had to unitalicize it.
Love those. It's doubly intensified in terms of that.
It happens like once every 3 years, and it's always good to notice it. Water Tap Weaver is
Best card I've
a
ever seen in my life.
Frost Links
Best card I've ever
type card. Yeah, it's
I've never seen a better
real
card.
good. And another thing that you do not mind whatsoever blinking or storm sculptoring.
This card has a non-zero chance of making an entrance into traditional Merfolk decks in Eternal formats. This card is very insane. Like it does something that no Merfolk's ever done before. It does something that no blue card besides Frostlinks, which had no good creature type, has ever done before.
Right.
And it's good and limited because every iteration of this card has been a first pick since this effect came into being. Ever since Hook. It's just unbelievable.
Cards that don't have the don't untap ability of this are high picks and limited. Like this.
Hookmaster was beyond a first pick. It was like if you were playing white, that's the card you're looking for. If the Frost Links was good because that format was super fast, but it was bad because it was blue. In this set, blue is the aggressive color, like white was in Zendikar, and there's nothing more you want than to play this card as a raid enabler that gets rid of a high toughness blocker. Nothing about this card's bad.
Yep, agreed. Wind Strider, 5 mana, 3/3 flying with flash. Sure. Just another card that you want to keep in the back of your mind as like playable, that if you have the counterspell heavy deck, you can fill out your deck with the rest of these.
Yep.
Black.
Yeah, I should mention that the 5 mana 3/3 flash flyings get worse as time goes on, but they're not unplayable yet.
Right. Anointed Deacon. 5 mana 3/3 vampire. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target vampire get +2/+0 until end of turn.